doing? You're gonna hurt yourself.
I need up here.
No, you don't.
Back up, please. Can I?
Well, is anybody there? I see 2 people watching, but it's been saying 1 and 2 for about an hour now, so that could be nobody. All right, well, I see a handful of people starting to show up. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, can you hear me okay now? Cool. All right, I can't hear myself. Is the music too loud? Oh, good, you don't hear it. That's good then. I just cranked it up to see if you could hear it. Anything? Okay, cool. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and mute that so I don't screw anything up. Okay, let me get to the right page here. This is gonna be tricky. I need to be able to see the page and see what you're saying at the same time. I'm just gonna have to flip back and forth. me give you the link to the sheet. And like I said, you can either just log on to this sheet and just watch me edit it, or you can use your own sheet and kind of walk through it you know. Sorry, I'm reading something else too. I can't think about two things at the same time. Okay. All right, so I'm on the settings page here. And the first thing, you know, obviously you want to make sure you've got the right version. But then, okay, this first box, that's something I'm possibly gonna add later. So for right now, it's irrelevant. So today's date, pretty straightforward. All the boxes that are white, you don't need to worry about. That should be, you know, that should be. That should be automatic in Sheets. If it shows current time and it's not your current time, you need to go into the File, Spreadsheet Settings, and then just update your time zone. So, and then that'll adjust it to whatever time zone you set it for. Get back to the chat here. Alright, so if you're going to just use this sample sheet or just kind of watch me go through the sample sheet, you don't have to copy it or anything. You can just, you know, watch me. It'll show you all the edits. Just I'll tell you what tab that I'm on, and you'll just flip through the tabs so you can see what I'm doing. But like I said, if you want to set up your own sheet, you know, just copy the main sheet on the server. Alright, so let's get back to that. Okay, so time zone offset. This is basically just to get your sheet synced up with your guild's server. So I can't remember. I'll have to flip back to mine to make sure it's right. Seems like mine. No, it's not. It's not that. It's like 22 or something. Hell, I don't remember. Anyways, that's the setting to get you synced up with your guild server. So then by the time you get the right one selected, it'll show what your guild server time is. I think mine's like Eastern or something. So, but anyways, and then daily reset, that should be pretty standard. Guild reset, mine is at, what time is mine at? 5 p.m. I think. So that's your guild reset, and if you flip over or just watch me flip over to Squad Builder, your guild reset will show up right here. So it should be in 19 hours and 19 minutes if your guild reset time is 5 p.m., which for me would be Central Standard Time. All right, just checking the chats to make sure there's nobody asking questions. Okay, nobody's saying anything. Okay, so then the rest of this should be pretty self-explanatory. Squad Arena payout, mine is at 5 my time, 5 p.m. my time. My fleet payout, I'm sure this is probably standard, but mine's an hour later, 6 p.m. I guess maybe that changes when you, if you decide to change your payout. I'm not sure why that's showing up as invalid, but I'll deal with that later. And then your raid times, whatever time you guys open for damage, is what this is really all about. Honestly, I don't remember what times mine. Oh no, it's 8. That's right. This is why I have this sheet. I have the shittiest memory on the planet. let's see, and then we do AAT an hour later. Okay, so once you get all those times set, then you can flip to Squad Builder, and it should show you, well, it will show you right here how much time until your raid's open. So like we just launched Pit and Tank tonight, so it'll open for damage in basically 23 hours, 22 hours and 23 hours. Let's see. Nobody's typing in. Okay. Okay, now going back, we did the sheet settings. This whole sheet is built on Pop goes the weasel, however he pronounces that, based on his core sheet. So what you would do here, you only have to use this if you intend to sync your player data. And there are a couple of ways to do this. If you're familiar with the territory battle sheet that Pop made, then this is all familiar to you. You don't have to worry too much about this because you know how to do it. For everybody else, to set your to retrieve all your information, you first need, forgive me, I didn't prepare any notes or anything. You first need your guild ID if you're going to retrieve from .gg. So what you would do is you would go to the .gg website and you'll search for your guild. If you have it bookmarked or whatever, great. So then, I'm just going to put it right here. You want to look for the URL, or in the URL, you want to look for this number. The number right before your guild's name in the URL. So for my guild, it's 990. I'm not sure how many variations there are. I've seen like 5 and 6-digit IDs, and then ally code. That's pretty straightforward. You just put your ally code in there. And then if you're going to actually sync these, which obviously if you're setting this up, you probably are, you'll just click whether you're going to use them or not. If you don't intend to use them, uncheck them, and then it'll actually speed the sheet up. So then your username and password, that's for the .help API. If you don't have that, you need to go to the .help and register for an account. Those links are on my server. If you have any questions, just either DM me or post it in the server. So you put your username and password there. And really this other stuff, you don't need to adjust any of that because none of this that's not checked is implemented into my sheet. So it's not going to, all it's really going to do is retrieve more information than you need and end up bogging down the sheet. So I'm going to check again, make sure nobody's, no questions. No? Okay. All right, let me see, back out of here. Okay, so now getting to the actual functions of the sheet. First things first is to select a game mode, and it's pretty straightforward. If you choose arena, obviously you're going to be looking at one-on-one, and you can either select to use your opponent's information or just build your squad based on whatever. If you want to see what squads are available, that's not good. What squads are available, then what the hell did I do? Fucking kidding me? This shouldn't be editable. We'll just do it on this side for now. Okay, so in this drop down should have these more popular teams, the more common teams, and I've been focusing more on building the sheet than adding teams, but there are a handful of teams in here. God, I need to fix this. This is going to be. Why won't it undo? Piece of shit. That's just great. Let me go to another sheet and see if I can copy the information. Unbelievable. Technology sucks is right. Alright, well, let me fix this real quick. Okay, there we go. There's that. And that should be blank because I haven't downloaded anybody's roster. I didn't sync anything. So, okay, so there are the teams. Okay, so let's get back to where we were, arena. So then, a company sheet, I'm not familiar with Google stuff. All right, so backing up real quick to answer a question. To copy the sheet, you'll go down to File, Make a Copy. But I believe, well, it's letting me copy it. So I think I've got this set so that you guys can't copy this particular example, but that's how you make a copy and then just save it wherever. Click over here and scroll through your, or browse through your drive folder. So let me make sure that answers your question. Okay, moving forward. So over here you can, it's actually, you're not probably going to search for, they're not going to be using Chex Mix in Arena or whatever, but there's Chex Mix. So what you would probably do, if you're going to search their information, you'd say, okay, they've got Revan as a lead. What teams, and this is searching player by player, or unit by unit. So I've got I've got Revan in these 3 teams so far. So, and then, okay, what about Jolie? Okay, these 2 are in the same 3 teams together. And this is a little redundant because Revan's really only in 1 team, and that's a Revan team. But anyway, so that's what this is doing. This side is filtering out all the teams by who you're selecting here. So, like, let's pick somebody that's a little more versatile in the teams that they're in. So, Thrawn. So now it's narrowed all those teams down to teams that Thrawn is in. Okay, and then just pick somebody else. Death Trooper. Still quite a bit. Let's do there. So now that's narrowed down to just those 4 teams that those 2 are in together. Okay, so let's just select one so it'll finish filling out the rest of it for us. So we want to add Emperor Palpatine, Vader, and Nice. Okay, so that puts their team together. And over here, you would say, okay, so what counters are available for that? And unfortunately, I don't have any counters put in there. So let's do something a little easier. Just for demonstrations purposes, this is the one I always use. Let that clear out. Okay, so let's say your opponent is using bounty hunters. The only counter I have so far for bounty hunters is Imperial troopers. So, but just to show you how it actually works. So that's going to list out bounty hunters. You'll select which bounty hunters they actually have, and then over here, enter. There's only 5 listed, but put your team together like that. So I'm going to stop for a second. Yeah, this should be saving. All right. Just give me a second. Okay, so moving on. Clear those out. Moving on to the next mode. Event. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so this lists all the events that I have in here so far. There are probably a handful more of them, but these are the most current and relevant, I guess. That's not actually, ignore that. So like Jedi training, that's coming up, so we'll just select that. Okay, so you got that, and then this is always going to be applying to the person that's using it. This is always your opponent, this is always you. Or if you're looking for it for somebody else, this is who you're going to be looking at, or where you're going to be looking. So this is who you need for that event. Okay, same if you were to switch it to Revan. I had it used to reset this, and then I changed it for some reason. So anyways, now change it to Revan, Old Republic. Lists all the Old Republic people. Not the new ones, but the originals. So I'm not sure if I'm sure the new ones will be usable for the next Revan event, but I haven't, since that's not verified, I haven't updated it. My wife is on her way home, so I need to get moving. All right, what else? So let's see. Grand Arena and Territory Wars, basically the same thing. I just added this little feature. So this, basically all this is going to do is filter down to the 3 versus 3 teams that I've seen. A couple of images that I posted on my server. If you're on the server, you saw that. So this will just list some of those common 3 versus 3, or I shouldn't say common, some of the suggested 3 versus 3. I don't think, I haven't done any counters for those yet, so it's not going to list any counters yet. No recommended counters. So, but anyways, that's how that would work. If we just deleted that, let's clear those 2 out, and it would basically just kind of revert back to Arena. So if they had bounty hunters, let that fill in, then you can counter with Imperial troopers. It also uses the core exclusions, and if this is out of your screen like it is on mine, on one of my computers, it fits. If it doesn't on yours, just reduce that. That's what I do anyways, or you can just scroll from side to side. So now, if you use the core exclusions, which I'll try to update these every time, if they ever pull that BS again, I'll update this on the core sheet, so you don't have to mess with it. You'll just say yes, use the core exclusions, or no, whatever. And if it's outdated, just uncheck it and then enter it yourself. So, like let's say Dengar, or however the hell you pronounce that. Well, it's not supposed to be in there. Huh. Well, that was working the other day. It's not working now. I guess when I was moving stuff around, I screwed that up, so I'll have to fix that. At any rate, that normally will filter out the exclusions. Not sure what I did, what I screwed up, but I was moving a lot of stuff around the other day and obviously screwed that up. So, moving on. All right, let's see, raid. I think most of the people that are going to be using this sheet are not like me that forget constantly what teams are good for what. So like the Sith raid, most of these teams, if not all of them, I just borrowed from that H Sith preparedness sheet. So if you use that, or if you're familiar with that, all of these teams are just from there right now. So as I learn more teams or have more time, I'll update that with more teams. And anytime I update a team, that's part of the core teams. So it'll automatically, as long as this is selected, which this isn't actually implemented yet, but I'm going to make it so that when you uncheck this, it will not use the core teams. But as long as it's checked, it'll use the teams that I'm updating from the core sheet, which is kind of like your database. So anyways, and then same thing, you just select who's available. Those are the 2 leaders that are available, and then you'll go through and select your support units. So, and you know, she's also available as a support unit, but of course you can't use her twice. So if you do happen to select somebody, it'll automatically tell you, no. Same thing with somebody down here. If you try to use a support unit twice, it's not as grumpy about it, but it will tell you that's a duplicate. Let's see. So if you clear the main mode out, it should clear everything else out except for the team. I had to clear the team out before, but sometimes I wanted to keep the team. Territory battle, this is basically just telling you what the special mission teams are. So the special mission team for Phase 1, Dark Side Territory Battles, Empire. Phase 6, still Empire, but with IPD. And always look over here, especially when you have your roster loaded. It's going to take a lot longer. It's moving pretty quick right now, but when you've got the roster loaded, it's going to move not as quick. I hate to say it's slow, but it is processing a lot of data, especially if you load your entire guild, which isn't absolutely necessary. Which I'll cover that later. I'll tell you, if you're not familiar with the sheet, I'll tell you how to upload update just a single ally. And all of these timers, just while I'm thinking about it, these timers, they're not synced with anything. All they are is saying, this is what time you guys normally do a raid. You know, so if your guild is really structured and you launch raids at the same time, like clockwork, every time you launch a raid, then this will apply. If you're more of a casual guild and it's, you know, some guy with his, you know, finger on the button and sometimes it's 15 minutes late, then, you know, I don't know who does that anymore, but anyways, if that's you, then this isn't really going to help you that much. Down here, these timers, these are all brand new. I just did this a couple of days ago, but you know, pretty self-explanatory. It'll tell you when the phase of the territory battle that you're in. It'll tell you like when it's turning over. I'm going to add a countdown timer to this so you'll know how much time you have left in phase 3 in case you need to rush in like I did a couple of days ago to finish your CMs. I finished with 2 seconds left. I was pretty proud of myself about that. Next territory war, Grand Arena, we just finished one. Now we're in the preview phase of the next one. When it goes to setup, it'll obviously say setup, and then so on. The next day it'll say attack. This will list all of the upcoming events that are at least in the calendar. And I have to manually input these. They're not synced with anything other than the main data sheet, which, by the way, while I'm thinking about that, I'll show you just how fast this updates, because I'm actually using basically a sample sheet that would be the same as what you guys would be using. So when I delete something out of the main data sheet, it deletes it out of here too. So all this information will be, everybody will get the same information at the same time. All right, I should have had a glass of water instead of a glass of brandy. Let's see. No questions so far. Check YouTube. Make sure everybody has a question on there. No. No questions. Is anybody actually watching? What else? What else? What else? Okay, so add teams. If you want to add your own teams, this is the place to do it. So you just do. Oh, it's defaulting from that. So you would just put a team name, and you don't have to put a team name if you decide. And honestly, it's probably easier to do it this way. If you decide that you want to just put together a team, let's see, this should only list. I haven't checked this, so this may or may not even work. I don't know. Yeah, it's using. Oh no, that should be right. Yeah, I haven't messed with these since I updated everything. Great. Well, anyways, never mind that. So let's say, just for speed's sake, you're going to use CLS, Chewy, and Han. So those are your starting three. It'll automatically list them. So when you go to select your team, this will be the only team that starts with CLS, assuming this is working. Chewy, Han. Yeah. That's not working either. God. Oh well. So I'll fix that and do a patch for that. I recently just redid the entire back-end data, so some of it kind of got fumbled up. So there it is. Anyways, the counters seems to be working okay though. So this is if you want to add your own counter. So of course it's pulling the wrong information. Of course. Anyways, it should select or should display teams, and you say, okay, we're going against the Gar-Saxon team. What counters the Gar-Saxon team? The Lando Calrissian team counters them. So then when you go to here and you select, okay, this person has the Gar-Saxon team, which obviously is not actually in here, then I would use the Lando Calrissian team over here to counter them. But since that's all screwed up, I'll have to fix that. I think that's all I have so far. Quest, I haven't really touched on this because Quest, honestly, I have no interest in this. But it will eventually function. So, and I will add some teams, but that's where it would show that recommended fulcrum teams, but I don't care, so I haven't added it. What if I added bounty? Yeah, so I did that one. What else? What else? What else? All right. Well, let's see. That's really about it for this part. Maybe next time I do this, you know, I'll obviously I'll fix these screwed up tabs, the adding teams and that sort of thing, or the added teams. And what else? I'll have to run through this again and make sure. Oh, no, I'll fix that. Anyways, I'll show you guys next time how to sync a. Get that off of there. Sync a guild. Actually, let's do this real quick. Actually, it'll take too long. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. So, just real quick, if you wanted to sync just a single user instead of the entire guild, add your username right there, or your ally code, And I think it'll be okay with it with the hyphens, but I'll just take them out just to be sure. And then enter your, this is only going to use, at least I'm pretty sure, only going to use the .help API. So put your username, password, and then this shows broken on mine for some reason. But you would just click that refresh icon. Let me see if I can refresh it and get it to work. Yeah. So you just click that icon. And if you are a user of my sheet and you ever notice that this says it needs to be updated, updating this core sheet will not update the entire sheet. All that will do is update the core, and then you'll be wondering where the rest of these other tabs are. So when that pops up, it'll also pop up that my sheet needs to be updated, which will show up here, as well as here, as well as here. So it'll let you know, it'll let me know, and then I'll update it, and then you can update this main squad builder sheet. So, but man, I think that's, oh, that's the other thing. I haven't gotten to this part yet, really, but it is functioning, obviously. If you select a team or a counter, and there is, I do have a strategy entered, it'll show up here. You know, like who to kill first, you know, whatever. Yes, you can sync the entire guild if you, hang on, go back to the core setup. If you enter your ally code here as well, well, I mean, you don't have to do it as well. If you enter it here, this is redundant because you're going to pull your entire guild, including you. But if you decide you don't want to pull your whole guild, just put it right there. But yeah, enter your ally code there. Again, credentials here, unless you don't want to use that. If you just want to use .gg, if you don't want to mess with getting this API credentials, just put in your ally code or your guild ID here, click refresh, which broke again for some weird reason. And then that'll just pull all your information from .gg, which it's not as current, and it only refreshes once a day, whereas I think the .help API refreshes either hour or 2 hours, or it's more often, whatever it is. So it's more current. But yeah, so that's that. So, and then on the changes sheet, this just shows the description of the sheet, what it's for. This I usually just put a little blurb, you know, either what I've just recently fixed, why there's 2 versions, 2 releases in a single day. This is obviously just the version 1, and then this is the date that it was released, and it's usually going to just be a .0. But if I have to do like a fix real quick, I'll put a 0.1, or hopefully not a 0.2 or 3, but anyways, that's just the date. But that'll also show up, clear that, that'll also show up right here. So it's usually not anything crazy important. If it's that important, it'll just have to update the sheet. Anyways, instructions, I'm still working on this, but there are some instructions on my GitHub, which is obviously a very much a work in progress. But it will kind of help you set up this .help account. Excuse me. And that's really about it. So that's why I thought it'd be easier to do a YouTube video versus type all this stuff out, because honestly, I don't think I've got it in me to try and type that out. So same thing with GitHub. If you experience issues like perhaps maybe you can't add a team, then you would just report that to the GitHub. New issue, can't add teams, please fix right away. And then just this changelog, if you're familiar with this kind of stuff, just shows what I changed on the most recent version. So I think that's about it, unless anybody has any questions. Nobody's really posting anything on YouTube, at least not that I can see. Nobody's posted anything on my guild. Nobody's probably watching from my guild. And the only Yeah, so I don't know if you pronounce it D-Row or Dro. I'm going to call you D-Row. You'll probably get along with, what the hell is his name? Day of the Hero, Mr. 420. So, anyways, backing up over here. All right, guys, if you were watching while I was doing this, thanks. If you guys have any questions, head over to my server or DM me at Blackened. There's probably a number to that. I don't remember what it is, like 4037. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions. But appreciate you guys' support. I look forward to continue working on this, and I'll post another video or do another live feed again at some point. Get all these other things fixed. And this right here is really bugging me. I swear it was working the other day. So stupid. Oops. Okay, so now it's working. Yeah, now it's working. What the hell was it doing before? Yeah. Okay, so it's working. I wonder why it wasn't working when I searched Valiant. I don't know why. I don't know. It's working now. I guess it just needed time to load. Still shows him as a support, but you can't select him and actually build a team with him. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so the core exclusions is working. Cool. Okay. That was weird. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And like I said, hit me up on my server if you have any other questions. And have a good night.